Well, good morning again. So glad to come back into your home and wherever you are today with the devotion. I appreciate it so much. I'm going to use my disclaimer again today. I'm just saying because I'm just doing a lot of thinking and considering the scriptures and whatever. I'm talking about what's on your mind and everybody's mind. It seems like the most conversation I'm hearing nowadays is about quarantine and sheltering in place. And so I want to cover that for just a minute. You know, when I think about quarantine, I think about it being serious. I mean, really not volunteer, but it was enforced. When I was a kid, all of my childhood, I heard about quarantine, and it was serious. It really was. And as a young pastor, I've been stopped at the door many times at the hospital with a quarantine sign on it that said, "You must see a nurse before entering." And I did. I observed that. And then recently, I've even had to put on a cap and gloves and a gown and was warned not to touch the patient if I prayed for them. So they really and truly, to be quarantined is very serious. But nowadays we hear a lot about sheltering in place, voluntarily, and that's. But I got another idea. I'm just thinking now. I got another idea that as we shelter in place, we shelter in His place. You see, because I read here in Psalms chapter 91. I'll read you about 10 verses if you don't mind. It just simply says that he that dwelleth in the secret place of the Most High shall abide, that means live there and stay there, under the shadow of the Almighty. I will say of the Lord, He is my refuge and my fortress, my God, in Him will I trust. Surely He shall deliver thee from the snare of the fowler and from the noisome pestilence. Now the old timers said that was those dreaded diseases, and we might be in one now. He shall cover thee with his feathers, and under his wings thou shalt trust. His truth shall be thy shield and buckler. Thou shalt not be afraid for the terror by night, nor the arrow that flieth by day, nor for the pestilence that walketh in darkness, nor in the destruction that wasteth at noonday. 1,000 shall fall at thy side, and 10,000 at thy right hand, but it shall not come nigh thee. Only with thine eyes shalt thou see and behold the reward of the wicked, because thou hast made the Lord, which is my refuge, even the Most High, thy habitation. There shall no evil befall thee, neither shall any plague come nigh thy dwelling. I'm not trying to be facetious today. I'm not boasting. I'm just thinking with you out of my heart today what the Scriptures has to say about some of these things. I'm doing all I can to protect myself, and I'm doing as little as I can to keep out of circulation, so I won't affect anybody else. But life has to go on. You see, some things just have to be done. I'm preaching graveside funerals or memorial services outside. I'm continuing to do that. I'm calling and I'm receiving calls, and many people tell me that they're keeping in touch with Facebook, and so we have a great desire to mix and mingle and be with each other. And now it's kind of limited, but I notice when we do get together, we really enjoy it because we've been deprived so much lately. And these last 9 months have really took a toll on some of our times together in our fellowship. But that's okay. No one in the leadership, governors and mayors and presidents and president-elects and all those that are running for, no one has really said they really know what to do. I haven't heard anybody that says that they know what to do. So neither do you and I. But they're hoping, and even some of them are even promising to get rid of this virus. Well, that'd be a miracle worker to do that, and we believe in miracles, so be it. Maybe it will. But Sunday, we observed our Thanksgiving Sunday. We always have our on our special days, we do the Sunday before, like Christmas, like this year. We're going to do it about 4 or 5 days early when I preach my Christmas message on Sunday. And so last Sunday I preached my Thanksgiving. And just for the fun of it, I went to my smartphone and I asked for a simple definition of Thanksgiving. And it said, being thankful, especially unto God. I thought, man, that's great. I thought about those pilgrims that had suffered so long in them cold winters and lost so much and had a crop failure. And when they did prosper, they came together with grateful hearts. And that's where it all got started back there at Plymouth Rock when those pilgrims put it into motion for us to have Thanksgiving. And you know, Thanksgiving is a big time with me. My wife doesn't hardly agree with this, but it is my most favorite holiday of the year. I was programmed that way when I was a kid. It was a one-day affair. It's just one day. Now, Christmas sometime lingers a while, and Easter and 4th of July, and we do a lot of things lengthy, but Thanksgiving was one day. And we knew we was going to have Thanksgiving as a big family. I mean, uncles and aunts and cousins, we all gathered one day every year at Thanksgiving at somebody's house. Everybody was invited, and we went there. It was a great day. And you know what? I noticed something else. That later on in my life, I got to notice that every Thanksgiving, set in concrete, Oklahoma played Nebraska in football. Every Thanksgiving, I don't care. And I don't know how many years, but it was quite a few years that they had it. Now, the players come and went. They graduated and went on to something else. But the players might have been new, but those coaches were, they were long-time termers. Nebraska and OU had long-time coaches, and they absolutely every year played. We knew that there's going to be a football game from Nebraska and Oklahoma on that day, every day, every Thanksgiving. So some things are just kind of set in stone, and that's the way I feel about Thanksgiving. I really are brought to my knees at times to be thankful and to count my blessings and to see what all God has done and how He's blessed my life. And with that, and dealing with all the situation, you know, we might ought to think about some more scriptures. I read in Psalms 136, you know, every verse in that chapter ends with, for His mercy endureth forever. The first 3 verses I want to call your attention to says, oh, give thanks unto the Lord, for He is good, for His mercy endureth forever. Verse 2, oh, give thanks unto the God of gods, for His mercy endureth forever. And finally in verse 3 he said, oh, give thanks to the Lord of lords, for the mercy endureth forever. You know, when I begin to think about that, I had a flashback to my younger days. When I was a young pastor 40 years ago, there was a veteran named Merlin Carruthers in California. He was born in 1924, and by 1942 or 43 or 4, he was in World War II. He was a prisoner, a military prisoner, and he had a great experience with God. And he wrote a book one time called The Power of Praise. Then he wrote one about From Prison to Praise. And I looked that up on the internet, and he said yes, and 16 other books he wrote. He was a great man of God. He had built a great church out in Escondido, California, back in the late 70s to early 80s, and it was quite large and famous, and some great miraculous things happened in that church. I had a personal friend that went there and told me about some of those things. He was an evangelist that came on the field and traveled and shared those miracles of that place where Brother Carruthers had that great church. And I have that book in my study, that The Power of Praise. And it's a tremendous book, and like 16 others also. And you'd think, was he really in prison? Yes, it was a military prison, but the book was mostly about being delivered from the things that bind you and that imprison you. That he suggested that you could praise your way out of prison. You could praise your way out of the dilemmas that you were in. Your praise would overtake it and would absolutely bring deliverance through faith to you and your situation. You know, I'm just suggesting today that I'm recognizing a truth that just might be helpful to all of us. If we could just begin to count our blessings and realize how good things really are and how good God has been to us and how much we depend on Him and how much He cares for us, that we might praise our way out of this thing and it may develop a great faith in us and give us great confidence. And because I'm thinking about Proverbs. The wise man Solomon wrote in chapter 3, verse 5 and 6. He said, trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not to your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge Him, and He shall direct thy paths. Don't we need a path today through this wilderness of pestilence and the pandemics and all the things that we face and this world that we're in and the battles that we face and the bondages we're in. We're under bondage in so many things. We're strapped to the neck in so many things. And so all of us are crying out for relief and deliverance, and we feel like we're imprisoned by these things, and no one seems to know the solution. But I'm just thinking with you today, what would it be like if we really turned it over to Him and trusted Him and begin to praise Him and begin to thank Him for His goodness, for He is wonderful. And I hope I've made sense to you today, and I hope you understand what I'm saying. I'm not boasting. I'm challenged to trust fully in the Lord and trust in Him and see how this thing will work out. Because I believe that my faith still holds. I could sing you a little song, but I won't. But the last one I sang to you said that on Christ the solid rock I stand, all other ground is sinking sand. And so if that be the case, we need a strong conviction in our heart that God is still true and still on the throne. God bless you, and I hope you have a great, great, wonderful Thanksgiving day. Amen.